The Cubs had a 3-game series against the Cincinnati Reds. We're going to look over all 3 of those games. We're going to look at what went right and what went wrong. All of that is happening on this episode of Cubs 360. What's up, Cubs fans? This is Jack from Cubs 360. Thank you very much for tuning in to episode 36 of the Cubs 360 podcast. If you're interested in this content, feel free to like and subscribe, and also follow us on Twitter at Cubs360X. So this is my series recap to the Cincinnati Reds series, and we're going to start with game number 1, and let's get right to it. So of the 4 trade deadline acquisitions that the Cubs had, 3 of them made their debuts, and the 4th and final one is making their debut in this game is Michael Soroka is starting for the Cubs in this game. So Friedl struck out swinging, McLain gets walked, De La Cruz struck out looking, McLain stole second, and Hayes struck out swinging. Lodolo pitching for the Reds in the bottom of the first. Hoerner grounds out to first, as well as Tucker and Seiya Suzuki. In the top of the second now, Lux will ground out to second, Steer will fly out to center, and Stevenson hits a home run to left field to make it 1-0 Reds, and then Fraley will line out to right. In the bottom of the second now, Kelly will ground out to third, Castro struck out looking, and Martinez goes in for the Reds as Turner flies out to right. Ben Brown is pitching for the Cubs in the top of the third as Michael Soroka leaves the game with injury, and Hayes will ground out to second, Friedl will ground out to first, and McLain struck out swinging. In the bottom of the third now, Happ will hit a base hit to right, and Dansby Swanson hits a home run to left center field, so the Cubs take the lead 2-1. And then Shaw will foul out to first, Hoerner will ground out to third, and Tucker will ground out to first. In the top of the fourth now, De La Cruz will ground out to second, Hayes will fly out to left, and Lux struck out looking. In the bottom of the fourth, Suzuki flies out to left, Kelly will line out to right, and Castro will ground out to second. In the top of the fifth, Steer will fly out to right, Stevenson is saved first on a fielding error by Dansby Swanson, Fraley struck out swinging, as well as Hayes. In the bottom of the fifth, Barlow pitching for the Reds now, as Bush will pinch it for Turner, as he struck out looking, Happ will strike out swinging, as well as Swanson. In the top of the sixth now, Bush will go to first base, Friedl struck out looking, McLain will reach on an infield single to third, as De La Cruz will hit a double to left to score McLain, De La Cruz will go to third to make it 2-2. We are tied up in the 6th inning as Hayes will ground out to third and Lux will fly out to left. In the bottom of the 6th now, PCA will pinch it for Shaw as he struck out swinging. Nico Hoerner will fly out to center. Kyle Tucker will get walked as well as Suzuki, so there's 2 runners on, but then Carson Kelly will ground out to Barlow. In the top of the 7th, Brazier pitching for the Cubs. Castro will go to third, PCA's in center field. Steer will ground out to short, Stevenson will ground out to second. Fraley will hit a double to center. Hayes will reach on an infield single to Brazier as Fraley will go to third. Then Thielbar will go in for the Cubs as Friedl will hit a base hit to center to score Fraley, and Hayes will go to second to make it 3-2 in favor of the Reds. And then McLain struck out swinging to end the frame. Ashcraft going for the Reds in the bottom of the 7th. Castro will hit a base hit to right. Bush will ground out to short, and Castro will go to second. Happ will also ground out to short, and then Castro will go to third, but then Dansby Swanson will ground out to third to end the frame. As we head into the 8th, Rogers pitching for the Cubs, former Red, so he goes against his former team here, as De La Cruz will pop out to short, Hayes will strike out swinging, Andujar will pinch it for Lux, and he struck out swinging as well. In the bottom of the 8th now, Santillan pitching for the Reds, as Andujar is the DH. PCA got hit by the pitch, Hoerner will line it into a double play, and then Kyle Tucker will strike out swinging. Pomeranz pitching for the Cubs in the top of the 9th as Steer will pop out to first, Stevenson will ground out to short, and Fraley will line out to left. And then Pagan going in for the Reds in the bottom of the 9th as Suzuki struck out swinging, as well as Kelly. And then Castro will ground out to short to end the game. The Cincinnati Reds take the series opener 3-2. The win goes to Barlow, who's 5-0 on the season with only 2 innings pitched. Gave up no hits, no runs, and had 4 strikeouts. The loss goes to Brazier, who went 2/3 innings pitched, gave up a run and 2 earned hits, and no strikeouts whatsoever, and Pagan with his 24th save of the year with 2 strikeouts. So not a great start for the Chicago Cubs as they're starting to get into their frame of having an offensive crisis. This is where they start to go stone cold on offense as we hit the month of August. But with that said, they still have the chance to bounce back in game number 2. So in game number 2, Shota Imanaga pitching for the Cubs as Friedl will fly out to left. McLain will fly out to right, and De La Cruz struck out swinging. Littell pitching for the Reds in the bottom of the first as he makes his Reds debut. He got acquired by the Los Angeles Dodgers at the trade deadline by Cincinnati. So Bush will hit a base hit to right. Happ will get walked. Tucker will strike out swinging. PCA will strike out swinging. Happ will go to second, and Bush will go to third on a wild pitch. And Castro struck out swinging to end the frame. In the top of the second, Hayes struck out looking. Andujar struck out swinging, and Steer will line out to left. In the bottom of the second now, Hoerner will line out to second. Swanson grounds out to Littell, and McGuire will ground out to first. In the top of the third, Marte will ground out to first. Trevino will fly out to left, and Espinal will ground out to third. In the bottom of the third now, Shaw struck out looking, Bush will ground out to Littell, and Happ will fly out to right. In the top of the fourth, Friedl reached out on bunt single to second, and he got picked off first. McLean struck out swinging, and De La Cruz will pop out to second. In the bottom of the fourth now, Tucker struck out looking, PCA will hit a base hit to center, and he's safe at second on a fielding error by TJ Friedl, and Castro will fly out to center, Nico Hoerner will get walked, and Swanson struck out swinging. In the top of the fifth now, Hayes will pop out to short. Andujar will hit a ground rule double. Steer will hit a base hit to left to score Andujar to make it 1-0 Cincinnati. And then Marte was struck out swinging, and Trevino will ground it into a fielder's choice to short, and Steer is out at second. In the bottom of the fifth now, McGuire will ground out to second. Matt Shaw will hit a home run to left center field to tie the game at 1. Bush struck out looking, and Happ will ground out to first. In the top of the sixth now, Espinal will pop out to short. Friedl struck out swinging, and McLean will line out to center. In the bottom of the sixth, Tucker will line out to first. PCA will ground out to short, as well as Castro. In the top of the seventh, De La Cruz struck out looking, and Kittredge will go in for the Cubs. Hayes will get walked, Andujar hits a base hit. Steele will hit a home run to left center field to make it 4-1 Cincinnati. Marte hits a ground rule double. Trevino will hit a base hit to left. Espinal will hit a sac fly to left to score Marte to make it 5-1, and that is the end of the game for Andrew Kittredge, as Rogers will go in for the Cubs. Friedl will hit a base hit to left, and McLean will ground out to third to finally end the frame. The Reds are up by 4 runs. In the bottom of the seventh now, Hayes will go to third. Hoerner will ground out to third. Swanson struck out swinging, and McGuire will line out to right. In the top of the eighth, Nate Pearson pitching for the Chicago Cubs, as De La Cruz will line out to center. Hayes will also fly out to center, and Andujar will ground out to short. In the bottom of the eighth, Ashcraft pitching for the Cincinnati Reds. Shaw will fly out to center. Bush will ground out to second, and Happ will hit a base hit to left. Mull will go in for the Reds, as Happ will go to second on a wild pitch. Tucker struck out looking. In the top of the ninth now, Steer struck out swinging. Marte will ground out to short. Trevino will hit a double to left, and Hayes will ground out to short. Mull still pitching for the Reds in the bottom of the ninth as PCA struck out looking. Castro will pop out to second, and then Santillan will go in for the Reds for the final out as Hoerner will ground out to first. So the Reds go up 2-0 in this series, and they do win the series with a 5-1 victory. The win goes to Littell, who's 9-8 on the year, 7 innings pitched, gave up 1 earned run and 3 hits with 8 strikeouts, and Andrew Kittredge with the loss, who's 2-3 on the year, who only went 1/3 of an inning pitched, gave up 4 earned runs and 4 hits. So not a great game whatsoever by anybody in this game, but they do have the chance to avoid the sweep in game number 3. So in game number 3, Cade Horton pitching for the Cubs as Friedl struck out looking. Steer safe at first on a fielding error by Matt Shaw, and he's safe at second on the error. De La Cruz will strike out swinging, and Hayes will fly out to center. In the bottom of the first, Abbott pitching for the Reds. Nico Hoerner gets walked. Turner will fly out to right. Suzuki will hit a base hit to left. Kelly will ground it into a fielder's choice to first. Suzuki's out at second. Hoerner will go to third, but then PCA struck out swinging. In the top of the second, Lux will ground out to second. Stevenson will ground out to short, and Marte will strike out swinging. In the bottom of the second now, Castro will ground out to second, Happ will get walked, Swanson will line out to short, and Shaw will fly out to center. In the top of the third, Fraley will pop out to second, Brian Hayes will foul out to first, and Friedl will ground out to short. In the bottom of the third, Nico Hoerner will hit a base hit to right, Turner will also hit a base hit to center, which will send Hoerner to third. Suzuki will hit a sac fly to left to score Hoerner to make it 1-0 Cubs. And then Kelly will ground out to the catcher. Turner will go to second. And then PCA will fly out to left. In the top of the fourth now, Steer struck out swinging. De La Cruz will fly out to center. Hayes will hit a double to center, and Lux struck out looking. In the bottom of the fourth, Castro will ground out to short. Happ will fly out to right, and Swanson will ground out to short. In the top of the fifth, Stevenson struck out swinging. Marte will pop out to short, and Fraley will ground out to second. In the bottom of the fifth, Matt Shaw will ground out to second. Nico Hoerner will fly out to second, and Turner will foul out to right. In the top of the sixth now, Hayes will ground out to short. Friedl will hit a base hit to right as well as Steer. And then Pomeranz will go in for the Cubs as De La Cruz struck out swinging. In the bottom of the sixth, Suzuki will hit a home run to left to make it 2-0 Cubs. Kelly will hit a base hit to left. PCA will also fly out to left. Castro struck out looking, and Happ will fly out to left. In the top of the seventh, Kittredge goes in for the Cubs. Hayes struck out swinging as well as Lux, and then Stevenson struck out swinging as well. So he bounces back in this inning. And as you know, he had the very, very abysmal game the day prior. And Kittredge went for the immaculate inning in this game as well, so props to Andrew Kittredge. Big bounce back. In the bottom of the 7th now, Swanson will hit a home run to left to make it 3-0 Cubs. Shaw will strike out swinging. Horner will fly out to center. Turner will hit a double to left. And then May will go in for the Reds as Suzuki will get walked. Kelly will hit a base hit to left to score Turner. Suzuki will go to second to make it 4-0 Cubs. And then PCA struck out looking to end the frame. Keller will go in for the Cubs in the top of the 8th as Marte will ground out to second as well as Fraley. Hayes will ground out to short. In the bottom of the 8th, Zuleta will go in for the Reds. Castro will ground out to second. Happ will hit a home run to left center field to make it 5-0. And then Swanson will fly out to center. Matt Shaw will hit a base hit to left. He will go to second on a wild pitch. And Nico Horner will hit a base hit to left to score Shaw to make it 6-0. Bush will pinch it for Turner, and he flies out to left. In the top of the 9th with Palencia on the bump, Bush will go to first base. Friedel will hit a base hit to right. Sear struck out looking. De La Cruz will hit a base hit to left to send Friedel to second. De La Cruz will go to second on a wild pitch, and Friedel will go to third. Hayes will ground out to third to score Friedel to make it 6-1, but then Lux struck out looking to end the game. The Chicago Cubs avoid the sweep, and they win Game 3 by a final score of 6-1. So the win goes to Cade Horton, 6-3 on the year, 5 2/3 innings pitched, gave up no earned runs. He had 2 hits against with 6 strikeouts. Abbott with a loss, who was 8-2, 6 2/3 innings pitched, gave up 4 earned runs and 7 hits with only 3 strikeouts. So my 3 stars for this game: Dansby Swanson was my 3rd star, who went 1 for 4 with a home run and an RBI. Seiya Suzuki was my 2nd star, who went 2 for 2 with a home run and 2 RBIs. Cade Horton was my 1st star. I just read his stats to you. So big game for the Chicago Cubs, and they finish off the series with a record of 66-48. The Reds 60-55. So again, a big game for the Cubs. It was overall a very underwhelming series, and they just really couldn't put together any sort of offense until they did in this game, putting up 6 runs. So not a great series overall. I was pretty disappointed overall, in my quite honest opinion. But again, we're at a point in the season where things are not always going to be sustainable. As you know, the Cubs had a very explosive offense in the first half of the season. Now it's sort of coming back to reality in a sense, and not that it was ever unsustainable, but it's getting to a point where it's not going to last forever, and the Cubs are experiencing that. They'll score more than 5 runs once in a while here, but again, they need to find ways to win games, and that's by scoring runs, because as you saw, they were for the most part able to get quality pitching, but they couldn't get the run production. That's why we lost 2 out of 3 in the series. They need to keep that run production going in order for wins to be more sustainable. So we'll see what happens in later series in the future. So I am also coming out with the Cardinals, Blue Jays, and Pirates series recaps, so be on the lookout for those. Give me your thoughts on this series in the comment section down below. If you're interested in the content, feel free to like and subscribe, and also follow us on Twitter at Cubs360X. So this is Jack from Cubs360, and as always, go Cubs go.